Hey guys, on the last lesson we talked about named routes, and today we're going to talk about the retry helper. This is a very useful helper, and I'm going to show you guys how it works. Well, I'm going to start by creating a function here. So it's just going to be named function test. And what I'm going to do is let's do something like number of calls. I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do with this later. So what I'm going to do is if number of calls equals 2, it is going to return true like this. Otherwise, it is going to throw an exception. So the retry helper is very useful when you have to deal with exceptions. Sometimes you are making, API requests, for instance, to third parties, and you don't know if it will work. It will always work. It might be down. The servers might be down, there might be some issues, and you just want to ensure that if it fails, you are going to try again. So you can do this writing your own code, but it often gets messy, and Laravel provides a very nice helper to deal with that. So here's a situation. You are making a call to a Reddit API, but Reddit might be down, so you want to make sure you send the request again if it happens to fail. Like, let's say you want to try 10 times, and if it's still failing after 10 tries, you just give up. This is what the retry helper works for. So in this situation, we're just simulating something. So we're just simulating that on whenever number of calls is 2, it is going to work, but if it's not 2, it's going to fail. So try 1, it's going to fail. So if you pretend this is an API, the first call is going to fail and the second call is going to fail. So let me show you guys how can we do this. So I'm going to create this route test. Let's call it a new test. So API test, let's pass in a function, and let's just return test like this, test 0. I'm going to change this to OK. Oops, forgot to add the get here. So let me go to my browser, 30 days of Laravel.test, API test. So we got an exception, right? What we could do here is, instead of just calling the function or whatever you're doing, and I'm going to pass this into this result variable. I'm just going to return result. What we can do is use the retry helper, and I'm going to show you guys the signature of this method. So the first parameter that we pass is the number of times we want to attempt this. So if we type 5, it is going to try it for 5 times, and if it doesn't work, it is just going to forget about it. Then we have the callback, and that's what it's going to be executed. And then we have the sleep, which is how many milliseconds it should wait before trying again. So for instance, here we could do retry, and we want to try this we want to try it 2 times, right? So 2, and then we want to say, we want to pass in a closure like this. So we have times, the callback, and how much time do we want to wait before this. So you can see that it passing a callback, passing the number of attempts, and it catches the exception. So this code is pretty self-explanatory. If you take a look at it, we try to do something. If it fails, we catch the exception. And if we don't have enough times anymore, we just throw the exception. So we have retry, then we pass in the function that we want with the amount of tries, so like this. And let's dump and die this so I can show you guys something like this. And let's say we want to wait 1 second between each try. So let's run it. So undefined variable retry. Oh, sorry, this is not what we want to do. We want to do tries here. So we have 1, it's the first try, right? So it's going to fail once because it's not going to be 2, and then it is going to return OK. So let's try and just the return test tries. Just to explain to you guys what we're doing, since we are simulating an API failure, we are passing the number of calls as a parameter, and we have the number of tries. So we are just faking it. We are just passing it as a parameter. So the first time it is going to throw an exception. The second time it is going to return OK. Let's try it. And you can see that we got the OK. It took a while because we are waiting 1 second between each attempt. But if I were to pass in 50, very fast. Or let's try changing this to 20. You can see it failed because we're saying that we only want to try it twice. Now, if we were to pass 20, we're going to have to wait a bit because we have 20 attempts and it works. Now, if we were to pass 19, I'm going to change this to 5 just to make things faster. It fails. 20, it passes. So, in short, you have the number of attempts, the callback with the amount of tries as an argument, and this should return something. And then the amount of time in milliseconds that you want to wait between each attempt. I'm going to change this to retry test. And this is it. This is how it works.